Astrology is the belief that the relative positions of celestial bodies can provide information about personality, human affairs, and predict the future. Astrology was created in a time when people played connect the dots with points of light in the skies, not knowing how far away these points were or even what these points were made of. Astrologers believed that the movement of the stars directly affected human affairs on Earth. This belief seems to continue today purely on anecdotal evidence. A person sees a correlation between two distinct things, the location of a picture in the sky and the general personality traits of any one person who happened to be born when that picture was in the sky, and then draws an incorrect conclusion that they are somehow related. Scientists have yet to see any statistically significant predictions made by using astrology. As a matter of fact, most predictions made by astrology are vague to the point of being applicable to anybody. Of course, people still believe astrology works. There is a limited number of signs and houses in the astrological chart. There are a few basic personality types, as little as 4 or as many as 16, depending on how specific you want to get. If you combine the two, assuming a very specific prediction, you'll see a startlingly high overlap of correct guesses. But astrology isn't usually specific. It spouts vague but specific sounding assumptions about the reader. Let's say that I create a chart for you. Enter the year, the month, the date, the time, and the location of your birth on the screen right now. Okay. After assessing your charts, I have found the following traits about you. You have a great deal of unused potential. You sometimes have serious doubts about the choices you've made, and you can be prone to self-criticism. But you've resolved to not second-guess yourself as much in the future and plan on making positive progress in your life. You can be creative and introspective. You think of yourself as an independent thinker. You are sometimes very sociable, but sometimes you're a little reserved. Do you feel that's true about you? Guess what? So does everybody else. I've probably just described 3/4 of the viewers in that statement. This exact study was done by an eminent psychologist, Bertram Forer. He gave a personality test to a large group of people. He took astrological charts from a local paper and secretly gave them all the same result. Then he asked the recipients to judge the assessment in accuracy of describing them. The result? 90% accurate. 90%. The results of his test were so groundbreaking, so compelling, they named the effect after him. The Forer effect shows that people tend to accept generalized descriptions of their personalities without realizing that the same evaluation could apply to nearly everyone else, because people want the results to be true. A person defending astrology might say, well, that's just a newspaper astrology report. That's not so accurate. Well, why wouldn't they be? Is it too broad of a view to state the predictions of people born on just that month, or just that week, or just that day? You would think that the daily charts would be more specific than the monthly charts, yet they still read about as specific as a fortune cookie. Big change is near in your future. No, say the defenders of astrology, you have to get a personal reading down to your time and location of birth to get the most accurate reading, and while some of the information given by an astrologer can be just as vague as the newspaper's predictions, some may be downright accurate. Why? Because as you're sitting there, the astrologer is assessing you. They're taking a look at your personality. They are getting a feel for you and telling you what they pick up about your personality, combined with the general traits of your sign and also combined with the same basic vague statements that sound specific when they're being applied to you. And even if an astrologer beats the odds with a very specific statement about you, it still doesn't prove astrology as a whole. They would have to make equally specific statements about every person ever to cross their path for there to be a statistical evidence that astrology actually works. People make personal claims of astrology's success. My chart said that I would have relationship trouble, and then I found out my significant other was cheating on me, or lying to me, or we've been arguing a lot. My horoscope said that I'd be blessed with financial gain, and I found $10 on the ground, or a friend died and left me their money, or I got a raise at work. personal testimony is not accurate. A person could claim that they smoked a pack a day of cigarettes for their entire life and never developed cancer, which means that cigarettes do not cause cancer. This is a false claim based on individual anecdotal evidence, not statistical proof over a large group. You can't look at any one individual and say, well, it worked for them, so it must be real. If you think of a number of things that happen to us in any one day, if you think about the number of different feelings that we have, the hopes that we have, the feelings that we feel about ourselves, if you think about all the experiences we share with each other, it would be strange to not see a horoscope be applicable to at least some part of the people some of the time. So I ask this. If any supporter of astrology can show me how it works, if they can show me how the light and gravity of distant stars and planets, some thousands, millions of light years away, and some that might not even be in existence anymore, can significantly affect our personality, but not the gravity of every little hill and mountain nearby, if they can go beyond personal claims of accuracy and show that every statement made by every astrologer is specific and accurate, and not just a cognitive bias or a psychologically feel-good statement that can be applied to anybody, if they can show that there is some mystical, magical force at work in the universe, and then show me the mathematical equations to explain it, I'll cut my dick off and eat it.
There's nothing grosser than a man with a hairy ass. A man with a hairy ass. A hairy ass. Everybody, a hairy ass. Every chair is nice and cushy when you have a bushy tushy. You can make it look more dapper if you buy a good weed whacker. Doesn't help a girl's libido when you wear a tiny speedo.